that I exist, and now what do I do with myself? And what do I do with myself versus the fact that I have a creator? That's the Das Tachton. And the Das Elyon is that there is God. And now that there is God, what do I do with myself? Where do I put me? Good morning. We are on Wednesday, Yud Daled Shvat. Tonight is Tu B'Shvat. Maybe at the end of the shiur tonight we will, or Basi Legani will do some things on Tu B'Shvat. The shiur is for the soldiers that are protecting our Holy Land and the recovery of all those that are injured and all those that are not well. Quick and complete recovery, and the Geula, the victory, complete victory, and complete Geula, take Viat Mamash now. What I would like to do today, we are on page Kuf Ein Vav, and the old edition Kuf Lamed Gimel. What I would like to do today is first do footnote 72, which I posted on the chat. It's from Shir HaShirim, Likutei Torah, page 70, which is Lamed Hey Amud Gimel. And so first we will do that just to complete or to enrich what we learned last time. Then I would like to go over the review questions that Miriam prepared for us, and then to go on. Today we will spend more time on digesting and integrating the material. Be'ezras Hashem. Pischili, this is from Shir HaShirim, Shlomo HaMelech. Hinei amru Rabosenu zichronam livracha, pischu li kexuda shel machat, ואני אפתח לכם כפסחו של אולם. You should open for me as a tip of a needle, and I will open for you like the opening of the ulam. We learned, if you remember, we learned last time that the tip, people still use this expression these days. Even in modern Hebrew, people still borrow this expression from Shir HaShirim. The Hasidic interpretation in our discussion is that the tip of the needle is Seder Ishtalshelus, and the Pesach to the Ulam, the opening, the entrance to the chamber of the temple, is the entrance to the reality of Or Ein Sof. So in any case, regarding that pasuk from Shir HaShirim of Shlomo HaMelech, our rabbis say, כי כל השערים היה להם דלסות, או היו להם דלסות, חוץ משל אולם. All gates, all openings in the temple, as we have learned last time, had doors, but the ulam did not. Miriam, I see you joined. Brucha הבאה. We are going to go over the review questions after we do footnote 72, which is Shir HaShirim, page 70. Likutei Torah, page Lamed Hey. So שהדלתות פעמים נסגרים והם כנגד איסרוסא דלעילא אשר לפי איסרוסא דלתתא. וכשיש איסרוסא דלתתא נפתח הדלת וכולו. So the דלתות, the doors of the openings of the temple, as you enter the temple towards the ulam, sometimes certain doors were closed. What does that, at certain times of the day or the night, whatever it was closed. What does it represent, Beruchnius? It represents Beruchnius and Isarusa de Le'ela. That's an open door. And that means a bestowing from above, an initiation from above, an ashpa from above, that follows an isarusa deletata, that follows initiation from below. an avoida from below. This is what the door symbolizes. That when there is an isarusa deletata, the door opens. And when there is no isarusa deletata, there is no access to the higher level and the door is closed. Omnam, however, isarusa deletata אינו יכול להגיע רק לבחינס חוכמה רישיס ההשתלשלוס, וכולם בחוכמה עסיסה. על כן יכול איסרוסא דלתתא להמשיך משם איסרוסא דלעילא. איסרוסא delettata, says the Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, can only reach the highest that Isarusa delettata can, which means an avoida, an initiation, an effort from below, initiation, investment, and an effort from below. The highest it can reach, and therefore the highest it can bring down is Chochmah of Atzilus, which is not bad, by the way, guys. If you have Chochmah of Atzilus in your consciousness, it's something to be very happy with. In any case, nevertheless, all hishtadlus from below, all investment from below can only reach Chochmah. אבל למדרגס כסר, אשר הוא למעלה מגדר ההשתלשלוס, to the level of Keser, which is higher than Seder Ishtalshelus, skip the parentheses, אינו אין יכול הלעס מן לעורר משם מים מד. Let's go back into the parentheses. Regarding Keser, and if the Rebbe brings a beer on Senaorena, שאין הכסר ממניין 10 ספירוס. The Keser is usually not counted in the counting of 10 spheros. והזכלה היא מחוכמה. The beginning, usually we begin the spheros, the conscious spheros from חוכמה. וגם מכסר למדרגס חוכמה באה דרך דילוג. And in any case, whether you count Keser or you don't count Keser, also depends if you count Pnimius HaKeser or Chitzonius HaKeser. But Pnimius HaKeser cannot count it, because Pnimius HaKeser is the lowest level of the Ma'atzil, of the emanator. Chitzonius HaKeser can be counted, In any case, even if you do count, the Rebbe doesn't say that, but even if you do, from Keser to Chochmah there is a leap. There is a quantum leap. It's not a gradual descent. From Chochmah to Bina to all the other middles is a gradual descent. Ila ve'alul. From Keser to Chochmah, that's more like Helem and Gilu. That's like a leap. So therefore, when you talk about Keser, that means all that is not limited, all that is unlimited. Halas man cannot awaken from there halas mad. Man is maim nukbin in Aramaic, which means feminine waters, and mad is maim dechurim. Dechar is in Aramaic zachar, like a male. So the isarusa from above, that's maim dechurim. That's the male waters, which water means here ashpa, or a relation, reaching out. So, Maim Nukbin, which means Isarusa deletata, cannot reach Keser. It can only reach up to Chochmah. ועל זה רומז פסחו של אולם. To this is the opening of the ulam, the inner chamber of the temple. That is what it represents. אשר לא היו לו עוד לעשות כלל. The ulam didn't have doors at all. The ulam represents אור אין סוף. רק הוא פתוח תמיד מעצמו. It is always open of itself, unconditionally of those who want to come in or out. אבל עם כל זה, אין הערה זו מהכסר, נמשך ומסגלה רק אחרי שיש שלימוס למטה. So we might think, oh, free ride. Let's skip everything, run to the ulam, to the door of the ulam. We don't have to worry about having the keys, if we have the keys, if not, if they fit or not, if we can open the door or not. There's no door. Let's go right to the Pesach of the ulam and go in, to the Kodesh HaKodashim. No. Ein הערה זו מהכסר. If you enter the ulam, then you'll have הערה, you have גילויים from כסר, from infinity, from the unlimited light of Hashem. However, that is not happening unless and only after there is shleimus of the avoida milamata lemaila, with the conscious powers that we have. דהיינו, בבחינס השתלשלוס מחוכמה ולמטה. So first, one has to go through the process of refinement from Chokhmah and Lamata. Chokhmah is what we perceive consciously. And as a result, we refine our Bina, our understanding, and our Das, our presence, and our personalization, the process of personalizing our knowledge, and then the midos of Abba and Yira, and all the way down to the Levushim, Machshava, Dibur, and Maaseh. So we have to work on all these personal Seder Ishtalshelus from Chokhmah down. Azai, only when we complete that, Azai shore gam ken ma shelemala miishtalshelus. Then what will open up to us is me'atzmo, not, we don't have a control over it. Like we don't have a control over our ratzon. I'm not talking about ratzon that comes out of logic. The ratzon that will nefesh wants something, we don't have a control over that. And so too, we don't have a control over the light of Keser. But it can reveal itself from Milamayla as an Isarusa de Le'ela that is not conditioned by Isarusa de Le'tata, but it requires to be ready for it. And that requires doing the Isarusa de Le'tata first and getting all the Giluim that one can get as a result of his initiation from below. והיינו, כשהאדם עושה כל מה שבכוח נפשו, בחוכמתו, מדויסיו, אהבה ויראה, ואזי ממילא נמשך רצון העליון, שאין כנגדו בכוח נפש האדם. And that means, what does it mean to work with one own Seder Ishtalshelus? Is that a person does all that he can do with the power of his own soul and his own understanding, his own awareness and consciousness, and working on his midos, refining his midos, Ava v'yira. Then, mimele, by itself, nimshach ratzon ha'elyon, will be drawn upon him the divine will, the divine keser, she'en kenegdo bekoach hanefesh ha'adam. And also the ratzon within him, the ratzon for kedusha that is beyond logic, will be awakened. And this ratzon, there is no koach adam to stand against this ratzon, which means ein davar haomed bifnei haratzon. Nothing can stand in the way of the will. So all other koachos, chokmah down, do not have the power that the will has. Will is maybe the strongest power we have. ולכן, therefore, גם לקנוס לתוך פסחו של עולם, also in order to be ready to enter the entrance to the עולם, היה צריך ללך דרך כמה שערים שהיו להם דלתות. One had to go through many gates that did have doors until he got to the entrance of the Ulam. Ela, and that represents all the avoida visarusa deletata that one has to go through in order to be a keli, to get the gift milamaila of an unlimited light that the person by himself, as Fegi correctly saying, there's no way we can do it by ourselves. אלא שאז, Then, after going through all the other stages of סדר השתלשלוס, בהגיע אחר כך לפתחו של אולם, when one gets to the entrance of the אולם עצמו, itself, אין צריך לפתוח דלתות. There is no איסרותא דלתתא required anymore. There is no need to open any doors, כי הוא פתוח, because it's open, ואין לו דלתות, and he doesn't have doors. ודוגמה זו מצינו בהארס הכסר בחג השבועות, as we learned. And like that, we find in the radiating of the light of Keser on the holiday of Shavuos, שהוא שער ה-50 מנון שערי בינה, which is the shining of the 50th gate. It's like the gate of the entrance to the Ulam. It's the שער ה-50, the 50th gate of the 50 gates of understanding, which means now you enter already beyond understanding. ועל זה נאמר, תספרו 50 יום. About this it says that we have a mitzvah of Sfiras HaOmer, and the Torah says you should count 50 days. And practically we don't. We count only 49 days. והרי אין סופרים רק ממתס ימים, שהם המשכוס ממתס שערי בינה. על ידי שסופרים היום יום אחד, היום שני ימים חולו, ויום ה-50 אין סופרים בשבועות. The Torah says, תספרו 50 יום. You should count 50 days. But practically, we only count 49 days, which are 49 hamshachos, 49 levels of drawing deeper and deeper ability to understand. By counting each day, today is one day to the Omer, and today is 2 days to the Omer, and so on. But when it comes Shavuos, we don't count today is the 50th day of the Omer. והיינו כי לשם אין מגיע כלל מעשה התחתונים, ואין בנו כוח להמשיכו על ידי ספירה. Because to the 50th gate, there is no power to reach there through מעשה התחתונים, through the action of the below, of the recipient. We do not have the power to bring it, not even through counting. אלא rather, הוא נמשך מאליו וממילא בלי ספירה שלנו. It comes down of its own and automatically, so to speak, naturally, organically, if you can say that, in the modern language, without us counting. אלא, however, שאם כל זה אינו נמשך, אלא בהקדים תחילה ספירת העומר ממתס ימים. It's not going to happen unless beforehand we count 49 days. דהיינו, אחר שיעיר ויומשך האיסרוסא דלעילא, מה שבכוח האדם להמשיך. After all the איסרוסא דלעילא, the המשכos from above that are conditioned by Isarusa deletata happen. Only then the Isarusa deleela of itself from Shara Chamishim can happen. That means that first we have to engage in all the conscious efforts that we can make in order to draw all the lights from within Seder Ishtashelus all the way to Chokhmah. Once we are, and this is represented by opening all the doors of the gates, going inner into the inner aspect of the parts of the temple. כי אחר שיש לו שלמוס מלמטה, גם כן בבחינס ההשתלשלוס, אזי דווקא שורה ונמשך גם כן ממילא מה שלמעלה מהשתלשלוס ויסרוסא דלתתא חולו. Because after a person has a shleimus, a completion from below, in his own Seder Ishtashelus, and also reaching the different levels of godliness within Seder Ishtashelus, of divine light that is tailored to the different levels of realities of Seder Ishtalshelus, then there is Arusa De'ela that higher than Seder Ishtalshelus will happen. ולכן נאמר, תספרו 50 יום. And that's why the Torah commands us, you should count 50 days. שמעלה עלינו הכסוף, כאילו המשכנו יום ה-50. That the Torah considers it as if we drew down the 50th day, the 50th gate. הגם שאין שייך בו בעצם ספירה והמשכה שלנו. Even though in truth, when it comes to the gate of the 50, it's not shayach, it's not comparable at all to any initiation from below. אך לפי שיום ה-50 והסגלוסו שממילא תלוי גם כן בספירת מ"ט ימים תחילה. But because it cannot happen unless first there is counting of 49 days, that's why the Torah is telling us count 50 days. The Torah is considering it as if we are counting 50 days. ועל דרך זה הוא עניין פסחי לי כחודה של מחט. And now you can understand the idea of open to me like the tip of the needle, כי כל ההשתלשלוס נקרא חודה של מחט, because the entire Seder Ishtalshelus, whether it is the top that a person can reach with his conscious powers and tools and ways of perceptions and understanding and so on. This is called the tip of the needle. Neged Ratzon HaElyon, in comparison to the divine Ratzon, to Keser, which is the opening to the Ulam. And now what we learn in the end of the previous shiur, in the parentheses, Vayen ma shekatuv mizeh, in the Maimar from Parashas Korach, Vayikach Korach. What does it say there? V'ine pischo shel ulam. Miriam prepared a question about that. The Pesach of the ulam haya 40 amma. The Pesach, that Pesach of the ulam that didn't have doors, its height was 40 ammas, v'hu beis pe'amim chaf, which is 2 times 20. The hine, which means 2 times half. והנה ההפרש בין אני לאנוכי הוא החף. In Lashon HaKodesh, there are 2 ways to say me, I. One is to say ani, and another one is to say anoichi. Anoichi is always higher. Anoichi denotes to the essence, that is not describable, that is not revealed. So, in Spheros, what is the difference between ani and anoichi? The chaf. Anoichi has a chaf, and ani doesn't have a chaf. Ki ani hu bivchinas malchus. Ani represents malchus, אבל anoichi הוא keser. Anoichi is keser. ולכן anoichi הוא בבחינת isnasus יותר מעני. Anoichi is exalted, much more than ani. Ani is invested. Anoichi is divested. כעניין מלך המלכים. Like the king of kings says anoichi. The king says anoichi. The king doesn't say ani, it's not respectful. Anoichi. It's much more menuseh, it's much more exalted. Gam, also, we're looking at the letter chaf. Okay, so chaf is keser. Keser is represented with the word anoichi, which has the chaf. Also, gam, chaf, Rashi Tevos, keser. We know that every word, the first letter is the most important part of that word because it carries the energy of the entire word. So the Rashi Tevos of the Rashi Teva, the Rosh HaTeva of the Teva of the word of keser is also chaf or kaf. V'chen also. Kaf is numerically 20, as we know. That's why the opening of the Ulam was 40, 2 times 20. So we have to understand it. Also 20, v'chen 20, hu gematria keser. 20 is gematria, if you make the cheshbon, is gematria keser, which means 620. והנה כסיב, אנוכי, אנוכי, בית פעמים אנוכי. A few times it's אנוכי, אנוכי, like we say in the 7 weeks of Nechemta, אנוכי, אנוכי, מנחמכם. I will console you, says Hashem. There are 2 levels of Anoichi. In 2 levels of, finish the sentence. Yes, Peggy, unmute yourself. 2 levels of Keser. Inyan is also in Shira Sayam, ki ga'o ga'a. Ga'o means להתנשא, and ga'o ga'a, להתנשא means Keser, above Seder Ishtashelus. Ga'o ga'a, 2 levels of Keser. Pnimius and Chitzonius. בייס פעמים גאה, והוא עניין בייס הבחינוס שבקסר. קסר is a bridge, a ממוצע, a שטחן, an intermediary, between the emanator and the emanations, between godliness and worlds, zu gesund, and therefore, in Keser there are 2 aspects. There is the בחינה התחתונה שבמאציל, the lower level, the lowest level of the emanator, the lowest level of Elokus, that orients itself, that now looks towards worlds, and then we have, that's the inner aspect, the higher aspect of, the higher level of Anoichi, of Keser, and then there is the Shoresh of Netzalim, then there is the root of the emanated, the emanations, the root, the beginning, the head of the worlds, the Netzalim, which is the Chitzonius of the Keser, the lower aspects of Keser, the second Anoichi. Vezeu, when Moshe Rabbeinu looked at Rabbi Akiva and what he went through, what did he ask? Zoi Torah vezu schara? This is the learning in Torah, this is the reward? What did Hashem answer? Shtok. Silence, be silent. Kach ala b'machshava. This is how it came up in Hashem's will. Look at the word kach, 2 times chaf. Keser ala b'machshava. We are talking about keser, shtok. You have to be silent. You can't understand. You are trying to figuring it out with your chokhmah. You, Moshe Rabbeinu, you are the epitome of chokhmah. You are trying to perceive it with chokhmah and say, Zu Torah bezu schara. This is what the highest level of chokhmah reaches, and this is the reward. Shtok. You can't perceive it with chokhmah. Kach ala b'machshava. The two halves of Keser, we're talking about infinity. This is where Rabbi Akiva reached. You don't understand there. You don't understand it. You don't see what happened to Rabbi Akiva. And you can't understand with your intellect this aspect of relationship and what it really is. In any case, we're not analyzing that, but the fact that kach ala b'machshava, the 2 times chaf, haynu beit pa'amim kaf hanal, the 2 times kaf that we are mentioning. And if you want to look it up, you can look at Priyetz Chaim, Sha'ar Nefesh Elokis Perek He, ולכן על זה רמז פסחו של אולם. To this hinted the opening to the אולם. שהיה גבוה 10 פעמים 20 אמה. The height of the ulam is 2 times 20 amas. 40 amas was the height of the ulam. והוא עניין מה שנשבער לאל, או מה שנזכר לאל. What is mentioned before in the Maimar of the Alter Rebbe, הנה ישכיל עבדי בת משיח, that Mashiach will have, Yaskil Avdi, he will have an outstanding, an unusual level of consciousness, וגבה מאוד and he will reach very, very high. Me'od means infinity, he will reach the levels of infinity. V'ani eftach lach kepischo shel ulam. And this is the second half of the pasuk, pischi li kekhudo shel machat. You should open to me like the tip of the needle, which means everything you can do with your limited powers, and I will open to you as pischo shel ulam, which means Keser, which means infinity, how Elokus is in relation to itself and not the way it's limited to our limited kelim. That too will be open to us to be able to see and experience. Let me just finish here. Vegam, also the word ulam, alam, aleph lamed mem means power, youth and power. A person who is alim in modern Hebrew, also in Lashon HaKodesh, means a violent, aggressive person. So alam means power, physical power. Lashon koyach v'chozek. So the Pesach to the ulam is a Pesach to a power that is unlimited. Vegam also, as the pasuk says, ve'ulam chayani ve'imale kvod havaya. The pasuk says that Hashem is swearing that my glory will fill up the world, will be revealed. You know, Hashem is committed to fulfill his vision. So ve'ulam is mine in spite of the limitations of teva and seder ishtalshelus. Ulam here means but. Ve'ulam means in Hebrew but. However, so even though, yes, they said there is ishtalshelus, there is limitation, but I am committed to reveal my glory, the way it is authentically unlimited, says Hashem. Ad kan de mare makom. It's a beautiful maimar of the Alter Rebbe. This is just a piece of it in Torah or in Shir HaShirim. Number one, what does the machat represent? What does the needle represent?
Seder Ishtalshelus, no?
Seder Ishtalshelus, thank you very much. What does it remind you?
Of the Tzimtzum, no? The
Yes,
small.
But physically, what does it remind you?
The one that we saw with, no?
Or the machat, the machat also, because the function of a needle is to connect two parts that are apart. And then...
Kav?
Excuse me?
Kav is like a needle.
Kav, yes. Kav includes Seder Ishtalshelus, very good. You know what else? The mateh of Moshe Rabbeinu. When he threw the mateh in front of Paro, and the mateh turned into Nachash, into a snake, Moshe Rabbeinu was demonstrating to Paro how everything comes from Hashem. The mateh represents also the entire Seder Ishtalshelus, all the way to Klipos, as Ruchama says, Tzimtzumim, all the way to Klipos, as the Nachash. You think you're separate? No, it's all, the mateh turns to Nachash, and the Nachash turns back to the mateh. There's only one God and one source of Chayus. In the Lashon of Basil Legani, Or Ein Sof Lemata Mata Ad Ein Tachlis. In this case, what will be the tip of the needle?
Chachma? No, Keter. Chachma, yeah, Seder Ishtalshelus.
Seder Ishtalshelus, the tip, the top of Seder Ishtalshelus.
Yeah, that's right. It has to go through the Chachma, yeah.
Right. Okay, very good, good. Number two, what does the Pesach of Ulam represent? The opening to the Ulam. If the Seder Ishtalshelus represents all the light that Hashem tailors to the capacity of the world, what does the entrance to the Ulam represent? What kind of light of Hashem? So it represents the light of Hashem that is not limited to worlds. Keser, the crown goes over the head, like beyond our understanding. That's unlimited. Number three, all the rooms in the Beis Hamikdash had gates, except for which space? All the rooms had doors, except for
the Ulam.
The Ulam. What do the gates represent in our avodah? Yegia, avoida. It means when a gate opens, means there's hashpah milamayla. There's godliness coming, brachas come from above, right? That's the open gate. However, since it has a door, it depends how much effort was done from below. And this is the hamshacha that depends on isarusa deletata. This is the hashpah from above that depends and results from the amount of and the nature and the quality of effort that was done from below. These are the doors in all the rooms in all the chambers of Beis HaMikdash. Yes, 5. What does the ulam without the gates represent in our avoida? I don't know if
the
it is
Maila Mishtalshalus, we said, the Ahava Rabba, what Hashem gives without our effort, much higher that we can achieve. We do the maximum as an Hashem gives.
Right.
This level.
Thank you.
And it's even higher than this level. Ahava Rabba, we're even higher.
Right.
Even this level has a connection with Mishtalshalus because we work very hard, there's some shayachut, but then there's so high, like Ahava Betanugim, no more. We can reach that for sure.
Very good. How, number 6, how does one access this Ava Rabba?
Through doing the avodah of the 49.
Yes, 7. By doing the avodah above, what level gluim does he reach? Giluim. By doing the avodah above, what level of giluim does he reach? I think it means here, if that's what Miriam meant, I'm not sure, that by doing the avodah that we can do with our conscious koiches, we can get giluim from Seder Ishtalshelus, which is we are now with our consciousness in Olam Ha'asiya Agashmi. So if we do avoida, maybe we'll get from Olam Fanim or something, giluim from Olam Ha'asiya Ruchni, and maybe from Olam Ha'yitzira, and maybe from Olam Ha'briya, and maybe from Atzilus. And maybe to Chochmah Vatzilus will be like Moshe Rabbeinu. That's a lot to achieve in Seder Ishtalshelus, but not beyond. 8, how does the measurement of the ulam...
Hannah, I don't think that's what I meant. Maybe I asked the question wrong then.
Okay, what did you mean?
I said by doing the avodah above, which is like the first this Seder Ishtalshelus, Aved al Piyatam V'dah, and then you get to Ava Rabba. What Giluyim do you get to? What levels do you get to? It was Arich and Atik. Arich, Ava Rabba, which is Shaykh to Arich, and Ava Batanugim, which is Shaykh to Atik.
Very good. Very good. Okay, correct. So Sterner, that's what Miriam is reflecting in terms of Arich and Atik and Ava Rabba and Ava Batanugim that you mentioned. So Ava Rabba corresponds to Arich, which means the level of Keser that has some shaychus, as Sterner says, or you said, Miriam says, to Seder Ishtalshelus, and therefore to avoid from the world. It has shaychus. It's not a direct cause and effect, because there is a dilug between Chochmah and Keser. There is a leap between Chochmah and Keser, between the worlds of, potentially at least, and then actually finitude and limitation, and the worlds of infinity, the big leap. Yet, when we do everything we can within limitations, we get to Ava Rabba, which is beyond Seder Ishtalshelus, but has a shaychus too. And then Ava B'Tanugim is Pnimius HaKeser, the higher level of Keser, the lower level of the Ma'atzil, which is Ava B'Tanugim. At that point, there's no yearning anymore for Elokus, because it's like you got to the wellspring and you're just there, one with God, and quenched with and delighted with the fresh waters of divinity. Number 8, how does the measurement of the ulam opening hint to these levels? Quickly.
We say the double 40.
Double 20 is 40.
Arich and Atik.
Very good. Yeah. Number 9, how do we also understand this Yegia through Tfilas Shabbos and the idea of 6 days, Shabbos and plus Shabbos in general?
So just the Tefillah of Shabbos is the Inyan of Yisrael. And we say Shir Shel Kel. So that's like, right? That's the level that's like above Hishtalshelus. And then the idea of 6 days plus Shabbos, you have to work 6 days in order to get to Shabbos. Mishalot Tarach B'Erev Shabbos, Lo Yechol B'Shabbos, right? So
if person has no shaychus all week to Shabbos,
then they don't have Shabbos.
Anyway, they wouldn't have the same experience. Wouldn't have Shabbos experience.
Right.
Wouldn't have, that's certainly not the Ava B'Tanugim. Maybe still.
So the 6 days is our Yegiya. Shabbos is above Hishtalshelus.
Yeah. Very good. Excellent. That was a good review. Baruch Hashem. Thank you, Miriam. Page Kuf Ayin Vav. We have a few minutes to continue. Kuf Ayin Vav, old edition Kuf Lamed Gimel. Vehine. Now we are beginning into an aspect of Avoida. The Rebbe starts to translate it all into Avoida. והנה עניין מי שטרח בערב שבס חולו, הוא גם כן עניין הטרחה והגיע לברר את נפש הבאמיס חולו. So the idea of מי שטרח בערב שבס doesn't mean only making a filter fish, but also it means the toil and the labor to refine the nefesh habahamis, the ego and the animalistic traits and nefesh. והנה ידוע ההפרש בין תפילה דחול לתפילה דשבס. Is known the difference between tefillah of Chol and tefillah of Shabbos, the tefillah of weekdays and the tefillah of Shabbos. The tefillah dechol hu lebarer ulezachech es hanefesh habahamis. The tefillah of weekdays is in order to refine and elevate the animalistic soul. שעל זה הוא תכליס כוונת ירידת הנשמה בגוף. For this is the purpose for which the neshama descends into a body. כי הנשמה עצמה אינה צריכה תיקון. The neshama itself does not need correction and rectification, ולא ירדה בשביל עצמה. And the nefesh האלוקית, the neshama, the divine soul did not descend for its own sake. As we know that you can also look at the world as different reality, personal reality, different realities in terms of level of relation with Hashem. In that case, Atzilus will be a tzaddik gamur, a complete tzaddik. Bria will be a tzaddik she'eino gamur. Bria will be a tzaddik which is not complete. Yetzira will be a Beinoni. And Asiya will be a Rasha v'tov lo, let's say, Bal Tshuva. So the Nefesh HaElokis comes from Atzilus. So he doesn't need to be tzaddik gamur, doesn't need to be rectified. ולא ירדה בשביל עצמה. וכשם להשתלשלוס עולמות העליונים, כמו עולם האצילוס, חולו, אינם בשביל עצמן, כמו שכתוב במקום אחר. וסיכון ובירור עולמות העליונים היה מלמעלה, והיינו שאור אינסוף המאציל תיקן ובירר הכלים דאצילוס חולו. Like the world of Atzilus, the worlds, the Shtalshelus ha'olamos, the way godliness descends through the higher worlds, the spiritual worlds, like the world of Atzilus, are not for themselves. It's only in order to. The descent of godliness from Atzilus to Bria, to Yetzira, to Asiya, all the way to our world, is not for their own sake. It's for the sake of engaging with the lowest level. As it's explained in the Tanya. לתיקון ובירור עולמות העליונים היה מלמעלה. The process of refinement, how the upper world, like the world of Atzilus, the world of Atzilus is like clear glass. You know, the Moshe Rabbeinu is called the Aspaklaria HaMeira, the difference between clear glass or a mirror. Clear glass is completely clear, see-through. And a mirror is blocked from the back with silver or whatever it is. So Aspaklaria HaMeira is like the Kelim of Atzilus. They are clear, there's no ego at all. It reflects Elokus. It's a conduit to Elokus, to godliness. But how are the higher worlds like Atzilus so refined and so sublime and so divine? It's milamayla. The birur of the purification of the higher world is done from above. It's not as a result of avoida milamata, of a refinement from below. והיינו, שאור אינסוף המאציל תיקן ובירר הכלים דאצילוס כולו. It means that Or Ein Sof, that the infinite light of Hashem, of the emanator, established and refined the Kelim of Atzilus. It's the effect of Or Ein Sof, of the Kelim of Atzilus, that the Kelim of Atzilus are so transparent, that they are divinity themselves. The Kelim of Atzilus can, even though they are creating a possibility of Gvul, but they are still Elokus. They create. The Kelim of Atzilus create. They create us. But all this, why are the Kelim Lemala, the higher spiritual world, so refined? That's Milamayla. That's the effect of Or Ein Sof on the worlds of the Kelim. ואין בירורם ותיקונם בכוח עצמן, כי אם על ידי אור אין סוף המאציל. So the refinement of the highest worlds is not coming from themselves. Like Hashem expects that the refinement, the process of refinement in our world should be done by us. Hashem can do it. He can remove all the curtains, finish. We'll see him and gamarnu. Geula could have come a long time ago, but he wants us to do it. The higher worlds, they don't have to do anything. It's milamayla, it's the effect of divinity on these worlds. Ve'etzem atzilasan, and the mere emanation of these worlds themselves, the higher worlds, היינו אצילוס האורוס והסגלוס שלהם, הרי הם בבחינת ירידה להם. שהרי ירדו בזה ממעלסן כמו שהם כלולים בהלם באור אין סוף המאציל. So what's all the showing up of all these higher worlds, Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira, or even above Atzilus? What is all? Well, we have Or Ein Sof, we have the Ma'atzil, Or Ein Sof. So what are the higher worlds? Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira. They are a descent. They are all a descent from how Or Ein Sof, how they were initially included in Ein Sof, in infinity. Now each one shows up as its own world. Oh, now we see the world of Atzilus, and here's the world of Bria, different from Atzilus, and here's the world of Yetzira, different than Bria. That's a Yerida. Because at first they were all part of Or Ein Sof. And you couldn't distinguish between one and another. Now each one is a world. How is it possible? ירידה, a descent from Or Ein Sof, צמצומים. כמו שכתוב בספר של בינונים, it says in נתניה, והואיל בלהן ירידה. But all this, the Alter Rebbe explains that it's all because the intention is to have דירה בתחתונים. So there is a descent that creates all kinds of higher realities that are only ranks in the chain of going down all the way to our world, so we can climb back up. וכמו שכתוב מזה במקום אחר. כמו כן הוא בנפש האלוקיס, so too, regarding the divine soul that we have, שהנשמה עצמה היא שנסבררה בבחינת בירור מלמעלה למטה. The נפש האלוקיס itself was refined and is pure, but this is done not as a result of work from below, but it came like this, which means Hashem makes it refined. ואין בה בחינת תערובוס רע חס ושלום כלל. And the nefesh האלוקיס does not have any mix of ungodliness, of evil whatsoever. ואין צריך בירור וסיכון עוד. And the neshama, the nefesh elokis, doesn't need more tikkun, more rectification, more refinement. כמו שכתוב, as it says elsewhere. I'm sorry. ומה שכתוב במקום אחר, תערוב ועוזרה שבנפשו, what it says elsewhere, I didn't look it up, in Nikute Torah I didn't have a chance to look it up. You're welcome to do so. Footnote 83 is a lot to look up. And there it says, תערוב ועוזרה בנפשו, that is a mixture of ra in the nefesh. Look up in Igeras HaKodesh, אין הכוונה בחינס רע חס ושלום. There, when he talks about the Rebbe talks about tarubos, mixture of ra, it doesn't mean real apparent evil, כי אם קיה לעבודה שבבחינס דס תחתון, we can talk about it next time maybe more, it refers to an avoida which is done with a consciousness, a level of consciousness which is das tachton, which means the lower level of consciousness. This das tachton and das elyon. Das tachton, the perspective, the lower perspective of das, of perception is that I exist, and now what do I do with myself? And what do I do with myself versus the fact that I have a creator? That's the das tachton. And the das elyon is that there is God. And now that there is God, what do I do with myself? Where do I put me? What does it mean practically, das tachton? Shehi avodah murgeshes. That even when we serve Hashem, it's done in a manner of avodah murgeshes, which means שההרגש, says the Rebbe, הוא עניין הישוס. That we serve Hashem with yeshus. What does it mean, yeshus? It doesn't mean that we go all day, we go, I'm serving Hashem, look at me. No, that's gaiva, that's whatever. It's not even gaiva, I don't know what it is. Yeshus means that I feel how I serve Hashem. I am conscious of, I am identified with, I am defined, and I have a sense of self that is invested in the avodas Hashem in terms of giving myself a value. We're not talking about avodah that is done with such level. Avodah bilti murgeshes is like, you look at the Rebbe. The avodah is so, the bitul is so complete, which is called bitul b'metzius. The entire metzius, the entire existence is annulled to the will of Hashem. There is no sense of yeshus, of self. So you see, look at the Rebbe, all his activities are just a conduit to manifest the will of God. And then there's avodah murgeshes, which means I am serving God, and it's about me serving God, but whatever it means. I want to be holier, I want to be closer. It's about I am there, and I am serving God. שההרגש הוא עניין הישוס. So it's not Ramama. I'm not doing anything bad. I'm serving God. Not saying doing anything against Shulchan Aruch. But ויכול להיות מזה יניקס החיצונים. From das tachton, that assumes that I am a yesh, and now this yesh is battled to Hashem, from there can be yenika, drawing life to ungodliness. Let me finish the sentence. Sheyipol chas v'shem. What does it mean? That the person falls, God forbid, betaivos, I'm next page on top, betaivos zaros, in foreign taivos, which means addictions and temptation, how do you call it? How you call taiva? Desires that are foreign, that are not divine, or not foreign, or bekas, or he can fall into anger and judgment, and chai gavna. It depends if he falls into a pit of chesed or into a pit of gvura, whatever it is. וכעניין אברהם יצא ממנו חולו ויצחק חולו, כמו שכתוב במקום אחר. Like Abraham, that Ishmael came out of him, And Yitzchak, that Esav came out of it. Even though both were Chesed and Gvura, the Kedusha. Yes, Terne.
Okay, so I think there's a Sikhe of the Rebbe in Chelek Tezayin on Yud Shvat, when the Rebbe explains the meaning of Dirabat Atonim, Lo Yisbarach. What does that mean, Lo Yisbarach? Just for Hashem. And he gives example 4 levels how you could do the mitzvahs. You could do the mitzvahs, say, don't do the mitzvahs like Avodim Masham Shemesorav Lekabel Pras. Don't do it for a reward. Even that is an amazing level. We'll do them all. And we expect, but don't do it for that level. Then the second level is said, don't do it even for a spiritual. Kirbas Hashem Litov. It's so good to be good. It's so good to have Hashem, the sweetness of Hashem. We still do it for you. And then the third level, it says, don't even do it like, I want to be a shaliach for the work of Hashem to be done. And he gives an example, not in the Sikh, but I heard of 2 Kohanim, that they wanted so much to do one avodah, which was something very, very high. They started wanting who will be first, and one heard the other to be first. That's exactly an example. Came out something not positive from this strong desire. It should be me to do. And the 4th level is the work of Hashem should be done.
Let me just say before the 4th level that this is so much why we need a Rebbe. It's like, if we didn't have a brain, it would be a mess. All our organs would not cooperate with each other. The right hand would not, the left hand would not help the right hand, and the right hand would not help the left hand. But if there is kashrus to the Rebbe, it's kashrus to the brain, to Rosh Bnei Israel. If all the organs are mekusha, are connected well to the brain, then they all will cooperate with each other. Yes, Stern, right. I'm sorry. You talk about Yud Shvat.
Okay.
So
the 4th level, the Rebbe said, the 4th level is the work of Hashem has to be done. It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
The work of Hashem has to be done. So it's amazing because then it doesn't make a difference who's going to do it. There's no power struggles even I have to be the leader or anything. Was that it? The work of Hashem, it's nothing to do with me. I'm just a conduit for the work of Hashem to be done. No more one with Hashem. Like what he says, no more Yeshus.
Right.
If there's a little bit sense of self, you said, you never know how it's going to evolve.
Right.
It can become a little. That's what he says. It can evolve to the 2 Kohanim fighting with each other for the avodah.
Right.
Even there's such a, they make a meeting about Achdus and everybody fights to be the leader.